Hi villagers. Today I'm very excited. I have coerced my very good friend Kelly, who is an American mom who homeschools, to talk to us. I've asked several people. She's the first one who's consented, so hopefully you will have a fantastic coffee experience with Kelly as we talk about life, love, and everything homeschooling. I met her in 1997 while I was an exchange student in New York, and she and her family were the first people from church to invite me for dinner. And as a result, I have babysat their children, made them Cornish pasties, and generally thought of them ever since as my American parents. They came to stay a couple of years ago while on a European tour of various places, including London and other bits of the UK. And my daughter now refers to them as Pixie Pete and Fairy Bubble, even now. And she's at least twice the age she was when she met them, which we think of as very funny. The other day when I told her I was going to interview Kelly today, she looked quizzical and then said, "Oh, Fairy Bubble." She's 13. She was about 6 when she met them. So anyway, on to the video. Enjoy. Kelly, welcome to the village. We are experimenting with YouTube and the possibility of meeting interesting people that I've met in the many and various places I've lived. And as you are a unique and interesting person to talk to about homeschooling, amongst many other things, and you are the first person to consent, you get to go first. So welcome to being my guinea pig. We'll make sure all the tech works and all that kind of stuff, and we'll see how we get on. I think
I'm just flattered that you think that I'm unique and interesting.
Yes. Let's see. I met you in 1997 when I was on exchange in Oswego, and you were looking after the Christian Union type group on campus, and brought me for dinner after church in the first student take home a student session thingy that they ran. I think maybe I was the only student involved, and I don't know, but I did go to somebody else's house again a different day. So you obviously did a good job in making it sound like it was a good thing to do. So
yeah, we had a lot of fun meeting students that way.
Yeah. So you have how many siblings? Because I know you have several.
Well, yeah, I have 3 biological siblings and 2 step siblings.
Mm-hmm.
Stepsisters are older than I am.
Oh, okay. Do you see them much, or are they dotted all over the country?
All over the country. I do see a couple of my sisters 3-4 times a year. The one in Colorado, not very often. The brother down in Delaware, not very often. But you do what you got to do.
Well, yes, I live 400 miles nearly from my family, and that feels like a long way, but to be in a completely different state is a different question altogether, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite a distance.
And how long have you and Pete been married?
It'll be 38 years in July.
Okay. Tips. We need marriage tips. What have you got?
Lots of communication.
Uh-huh.
You can't ever assume that they know what you need or what you are thinking. Lots of grace. Everybody makes mistakes. And just be prepared to love who they're becoming. You won't be who you were when you first got married.
Mm-hmm.
I would hope in 38 years you change. The idea is to get better, right? Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I'm definitely not the same person I was when I got married at age 20. And I know he's not the same person he was. So being able to grow together has been really cool. We each have different hobbies that we enjoy on our own, but we made sure to cultivate a few that we enjoy together.
Yeah.
So that we could continue to be close.
Yeah.
And honestly, friendship is the base, because friendship in a relationship is like the coals of a fire. Romance is a flame. It's tinder. And it goes up real fast, and it's nice and bright, and it's nice and warm, but it doesn't last very long. And you can occasionally throw a little bit more on and get some of that again. But if you don't have the coals to keep things going, when bills come due and the kids are sick and, life happens, you don't have anything to fall back on. So be best friends first.
And how did you meet?
That's the relationship for the rest.
How did you meet Pete if you were only 20 at the time?
I can't hear you.
How did you meet Pete?
Oh, we went to the same college.
It seems to be the way with Americans.
Well, they did not have a Christian students group there. So I started one, and he came to one of our meetings. And that's all she wrote.
Fair enough.
So the group didn't last very long, but it served its purpose, I guess.
And look what you've managed to get out of it. 38 years of marriage and 4 children. So let's talk about those children for a minute, because they clearly aren't small aged anymore. And you are now putting your homeschool experience to good use, aren't you? Because are you still teaching in the school?
Yes, I'm teaching preschool. Yep. I'm finishing my 7th year there.
Wow.
We started homeschooling mostly because we couldn't afford Christian school. And then when our daughter got to be about 1.5 years and started knowing her colors already and doing things that I wasn't expecting her to do so early, I realized that she was going to be like me. I have, not to boast, but I have a very high IQ, and school bored me to tears.
Right.
I was reading before I went to kindergarten. So, learning your letters, dude, I can read a 2nd grade book. Hello. So, I decided I didn't want to do that to her. I wanted her to be challenged by school, and the only way to do that was either to, put her in 2nd grade at age 5, or teach her at home where I could advance her wherever she needed to be advanced. So we did. And then when our 2nd child came along, she was reading before she turned 4. The second one wasn't, shall we say, as advanced in that sense. We now know he had ADHD, among other things. But at the time, all we knew was the kid could not sit still. Just a total imp, always into things, always active, lovable as heck. But I said he's the student that the teacher would want to kill every single day. So I said, I've got to keep him home. That's not an option. And it took a couple of years for him to learn to read. Could not decode. Could not do it. We took a long time. We would do workbooks and things, and he would figure it out there, but then he couldn't transfer the knowledge, because we'd do a book, and I'd be like, you just did this word today in your workbook, and he's like he's never seen it before. However, we kept digging that well, and eventually we hit water, and when we did, boom, within 2 months, he was like 2 years above grade level.
Right.
Just once it clicked, it clicked. But it took a long time to do that. Okay.
We still appear to be going, so we'll keep going. I don't know what happened there. Right, where do we get to?
It's a good thing you're taping.
It is. Together. I can just stitch it all magic. Never know the difference. How was homeschooling different in the school? What would be the school holidays if you were in a classically schooled education?
Because Peter was a teacher, we would do the same holidays. When he was off, we were off, except for snow days.
And I know you
We
really love
usually
snow.
work through snow days because I preferred to take our days off in the spring and the good weather rather than in the winter. So yeah, we would work through snow days, much to the kids' chagrin.
I think we might need to find a photo of what Oswego looks like in the snow and insert at this point, because in the UK it only snows like that if you live in Scotland, and it very rarely snows anywhere else enough to count as proper snow. And you are particularly fond of snow, so you wouldn't live here for very long.
No.
So clearly you enjoyed homeschooling enough to take it up as a post empty nester situation. So how did you end up at the Christian school?
That was really a God thing. A woman that we knew from the school came to our church one day, and she didn't attend our church. So why she was there, I really don't know. But we got into conversation with her, and she happened to mention that they needed a couple of teachers at the school for the coming school year. And one of them she mentioned was the preschool. So I knew who the principal was, and I let him know I was interested. I do not have an education degree. My degree is in social work. However, both of my placements for social work were in educational settings. And of course, having homeschooled all 4 of my kids all the way through, I had like 20 years experience in teaching. So, and he knew that. So he said that for the preschool, as long as I had a 4-year degree, whatever it was in, that he could hire me. So, of course, with all the homeschooling, I've done a lot of research on learning styles and different ways to help make education more interesting and work on making sure that they're able to understand and learn and get the input they need. So it worked very well, because now I have a classroom full of my second born, active and moving and want to do things, and you got to make it fun and interesting, and you got to involve their bodies, and so I cater to a 20-minute attention span. There's not much we do that goes longer than 20 minutes at a time without breaking it up somehow. But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
How many kids do you have in your class?
This year I have 12.
Oh wow, so it's quite small. It's because it's a private school, though, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a private school. Yeah, they used to have more kids. But now that there's universal pre-K and the kids' parents don't have to pay for it in the public school, we get fewer kids.
Oh, okay. Okay. So we'll step away from homeschooling a little bit and just find out a little bit about you. What do you like to do in your free time when you're not homeschooling
Kayaking.
And stuff?
Kayaking, gardening. If it's wintertime, snowshoeing or just sledding. I like to be outdoors. Rightio.
Where are you going to travel to next? If money was no object, if I could give you pots and pots of money, where would you go?
World tour. Dang, there is so much to see. Well, I mean, we did our European tour when Peter retired. I would love to do an Asian tour. We now have 3 kids that we've hosted that are from Asian countries, so we could do the same type of thing that we did with our European trip and staying with our former students. So yeah, probably Asia first, but I just would love to go everywhere.
Me too. I keep threatening to have a gap year when Charlotte goes to university. Yeah. Rather than, I missed the idea of a gap year when I was 18. Nobody was doing it until like a year or 2 later. I think perhaps I might have to have a gap year before I retire.
I think that's a good idea.
So if your family, your siblings are dotted all over the country, where did you grow up?
Grew up pretty close to where I am now.
Oh, okay. In
central New York, in a very small town called Bridgeport. Literally, don't blink. It's one stoplight.
That's it.
That's it.
So were you at university in Oswego?
No, I was in Rochester.
Oh, okay, so not far. If you were on death row, what would be your last meal?
Wow. Something with corn on the cob.
Okay.
I love corn. Yeah, I looked at that one and I thought, man, there's so many foods I like. I don't really even know. Other than the corn on the cob, I would probably just do ice cream. You know, it's just your last meal. You don't have to be healthy.
True, exactly. Why would you be healthy? Okay, imagine you are having a celebrity dinner party. Who's in attendance?
Modern celebrities?
Whoever you like, living or dead.
No, Keanu Reeves, maybe.
Okay.
He would be an interesting one.
He's meant to be a really nice bloke.
Yeah, so I hear. I think he's one of the few Hollywood types that seems to have kept his feet on the ground.
Yeah.
And his head out of the clouds. Doesn't believe his press releases. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'd definitely be interested in him. Obviously, Jesus.
Obviously.
How could you pass up the chance to get some insight from the man? Let's see. I don't know.
It's a very small dinner party then. Jesus and Keanu Reeves. Okay. Let's see. What else have you got? Oh, I know you're a big book reader. Obviously, you're helping being a teacher and stuff. So what was the book that influenced you as a child that something has followed you through into adult life?
As a young child, Black Beauty by Anna Sewell. It's the autobiography of a horse.
I've only recently read it.
Yeah, we obviously know that to be impossible because horses don't write, but it really was told from the point of the view of the horse. And I already, as a child, loved animals, but this one made me really think about how we treat them and how that matters to them, you know? So that one really had an effect on me as a child. And as I got to be a teenager, J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. To live in Middle-earth. I want to go there. So yes, when Aragorn is king. Got to be when Aragorn is king. That's when I want to go there.
So on your list now needs to be New Zealand, so that you can go and at least stand in a Hobbit house. Fair enough. So I think that covers favourite author as well. So we'll tick that off.
And maybe we'll put Viggo Mortensen in that dinner party too.
Okay. As I said, living or dead, so you can have whoever you like. So imagine you are standing in a really big bookstore. Where are you? Which shelves?
Mystery. I love things that make you think.
Okay.
History. That's good too. Mostly through biographies, though.
Okay.
A retelling of the facts doesn't really give you the sense of history. It's talking about what people were thinking and what people were doing and why they were doing it. That's what history is. Because none of us know when we're going through it what it's going to be.
No.
But we see things, we think things, you know, we act based on what we do see. That's history.
And it's always
told. That's why
it's always told by the victor, isn't it? So who knows what it was like for the little man? Yeah.
Yep, that's true too.
What job would you have been terrible at?
Police officer. I'm not mean enough.
Okay. Charlotte always says I want to cuddle everybody. Every villain that's on TV. I've turned into a proper mum that wants to just take him home and feed him cake. Because nobody cuddled you as a child. So yes, Harry Potter, for instance, every time Malfoy appears on screen, I say, oh, I could just take him home. And not to do anything remotely naughty other than just feed him cake and make him a nice person.
Sweeten him up.
Yeah. If you had a horse, what would it be called?
Freedom.
Nice.
Yes.
And
then
if you
you're able to get away.
Well, that leads me to my next question. If you had a boat, what would it be called? And clearly it might be the same.
Probably.
What makes you feel invincible?
I don't think there's anything that makes me feel invincible. I am all too well aware of how close I stand to the brink.
Okay.
Yeah.
What brings you comfort in that?
Ah.
That's obviously a different question.
Hugs.
But
Hugs.
Hugs.
Touch. Connection.
Cake.
Yeah. That's why, honestly, my job is the best job for me. I was talking to my son's girlfriend. She's a middle school teacher. And she was saying, I could never do preschool. Oh my gosh, they're touching you all the time. And I just would get touched out. I can't stand it. And I was like, actually, that's why I'm there. I need to be touched constantly. I need that connection. And the kids are just giving it to me all the time. Even when I'm in the middle of teaching things, they know they're welcome to come up and give me a hug. And then they sit down again. And I keep going on like nothing happened. But it really is wonderful.
Cute. I did wonder about teaching at one stage for me, and definitely would have to have been primary school or younger. There is no way I could teach secondary school. Hearing the stories Charlotte tells of school now, most of it's military discipline and shouting at the children or being insulted by the children. So, you know.
Well, here we kind of have the opposite problem. The inmates are running the asylum.
Righto.
Honestly, the kids in the high school, it's not pretty. And administration does not back up the teachers. They'll give the teachers rules and say, okay, you have to enforce this. And then the teacher tries to, and the administration is like, oh, well, no, I guess we won't do that. Well, hello, why are you telling me to enforce this then?
Yeah.
So
one of the many reasons you homeschooled, presumably.
Yeah.
Because Pete would have had experience working in a school environment from before.
Yes, and all that the kids are exposed to and all that they have to deal with. We just felt it would be nicer if they were a bit more mature before they had to deal with some of that.
Yeah.
There are things I just don't expect a 12-year-old to have to work on.
No, I've been saying this lately, that you spend the first, 10 years or something of their life cosseting them and making sure that, nothing bad happens to them and they don't see stuff that you don't want them to see. And they go to secondary school and she's had to read all sorts of things that would make your hair curl, because it's just, because that's what we're studying in English, or that's what we're studying in drama, or philosophy and ethics, which is what originally would have been religious education when I was at school. They cover all sorts of stuff, conflict resolution and criminal justice system and all sorts of things that make you go, and we wonder why perhaps there is an epidemic of mental health issues.
Oh, yeah, I don't wonder. There is so much going on, and the kids know about it so much earlier.
Yeah.
It is. It's very difficult. I'm not surprised that they have trouble with anxiety and stress.
No, I've been saying this for ages. Yeah. Right, well, on that happy note, perhaps we should go on to something lighter. So, what do you have on pizza?
Oh my, black olives, definitely.
Oh, we are not sharing a pizza. Your pizza's yours, my pizza's mine.
I like sausage too. Hey, I didn't say anchovies. I didn't say pineapple.
Do you speak any foreign language?
I can make myself understood in Spanish. I'm not fluent, but yeah, I could get by.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I think I can ask where the tourist office is in Spanish. I can ask for bread and ice cream and apples in French. So clearly I wouldn't starve, but I might not necessarily be very healthy for very long.
Yeah.
More apples.
There you go.
If you could time travel, where would you go?
Mm, definitely back. I want to say like maybe in the 19th century, early 19th century.
Okay.
Um, I like the simplicity of most of life, but at the same time, there's starting to be some uh, conveniences, which would be nice.
Yes. I
So,
often say I'd like to live in the Old West. And then I stop and I say, what I'd like to do is live on the set of Little House on the Prairie, not actually Little House on the Prairie, because I'd like my conveniences. Thank you.
well, we went to a living history site, and in the kitchen section, they were making a meal, and the man who was in charge said, "You realize I can do everything in this kitchen that you can do in your modern kitchens. It just takes me longer." He said, "I don't have a mixer. I don't have, these electrical things. I can still do that stuff. It's just going to take me longer."
Mm,
It's like, oh, he's got a point.
yes. But convenient things like toilet paper and things like that. I think I would miss that.
I hear you.
Mm. What is the best date you have ever been on? Doesn't necessarily need to be with Pete.
Yeah. Pete took me to the theater, and we had dinner beforehand, and then we went out for ice cream after, and I think that was the best.
Excellent. Simple and elegant, and anybody could do it.
Yeah.
Nice.
And of course, ice cream. Hey.
Well, yes. So, what flavour of ice cream do you graduate towards in an ice cream shop?
Usually black cherry,
Oh.
but I like pretty much anything with caramel in it, and quite a few of the fruit flavors. There's very few ice creams that I wouldn't eat.
Righto.
Chocolate being one of them.
Oh.
I don't like chocolate. Go figure. I like chocolate candy, but not chocolate ice cream.
It's sometimes quite powdery. Depends where you're getting it from, I think. We were in London in the summer, and there was an ice cream shop across from where our flat was, and we went one night, and I thought I had mint choc chip, and it tasted like tobacco, and I don't smoke. I've never smoked, but it tasted like I imagined tobacco tasting. Once you can smell it, you get an idea, haven't you? What it tastes. It was horrible, and I looked it up on their website, and it was some Italian word meaning mint, not mint choc chip, but just sort of bits of mint. But I don't know what they had in it. Spearmint, I think, which made it taste like toothpaste rather than something pleasant.
Right. Oh dear.
Next day, mango. Go with something we know for definite is safe. Yep. And I think we'll finish with, if you wrote a memoir, what would it be called?
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
I haven't seen that, but it's on my list of things to see.
I haven't seen it either, but that title just sounds a lot like my life.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Kelly. It's been a joy to have you.
Yes, it's good to see you again.
Yeah, we should do this more often. Maybe not with the recording part of it, but,
right.
see what each other looks like.